Welcome, everyone, to today's episode of Crypto News Alerts, podcast episode number 1159. Let's go. In today's show, and actually, let me do a quick little vital check here. Make sure you guys can still see me because I got an error occurred. So let me know if I'm live in the chat really quick before I kick this baby off and go for like the next 45 minutes straight. Let me know we're good, we're okay, and you can see me in the live chat because I have a streaming error, which does occur from time to time. So really quick in the chat. Let me know. We're good to go. I got the thumbs up. I appreciate that. Selling with twins. So let's get this show on the road. In today's show, the Bitcoin price holds on to $17,000 into Fed Powell's speech as GBTC jumps to multi-month highs. I'll be breaking down the latest technical analysis. And this just in, breaking news. Cameron Winklevoss just tweeted earn update an open letter to the board of DCG, the digital currency group. Now, the Gemini co-founder says the $2.8 billion Genesis defrauded Gemini and over 340,000 of their users. And a reminder, not your keys, not your cheese. Also in today's show, Coinbase to cut yet another 20% of its workforce in the second wave of layoffs. That's right. The exchange announced a further restructuring plan that involves reducing its workforce by 950 employees to cut operational costs amid this bear market. Also in today's show, breaking news, former FTX chief engineer wants a deal with U.S. authorities. I'll be breaking down this latest report as the FTX saga continues to unfold. Also more breaking news, we'll be discussing why Justin Sun's stablecoin, USDD, is struggling to maintain its dollar peg and what this means. Also in today's show, is there a bull trap ahead? Well, crypto analyst who called the last collapse says a crypto rally will turn into a massive correction and warns us that the Bitcoin price can drop another 30% from the current price, taking us down to around that $12,000 mark. Also in today's show, analyst who called the May 2021 Bitcoin crash says Bitcoin is on track for a major breakout and shares how high it can soar. Quoting him here, on the basis of the LGC, which is the logarithmic growth curve, which has stood the test of time for 4 years, Bitcoin can easily do a 10x over the next couple of years, which is indicative that Bitcoin can ascend to $160,000 by January 2025. We'll also be taking a look at the overall crypto market, all this, plus so much more in today's show. And welcome everyone just tuning in. Today is podcast episode number 1159. I am your host, JV. Today is January 10th, and we have lots to cover. So let's start by checking out Coin 360 and do some market watch. As you can see, Bitcoin, one of the top cryptos, actually still in the green, maintaining above $17,250, up 0.32% for the day. We have Ether, Binance Coin, XRP, Cardano, and Doge all pulling back in the red, but Ether still maintaining above $1,300 after we've seen a pretty nice pump in the last couple of days, especially for the alts. Also, checking out coinmarketcap.com, we can see the current crypto market cap sitting at $853 billion with $39 billion in volume in the past 24 hours. Bitcoin dominance 39% even, with the Ether dominance at 19.1%. And checking out the top 100 crypto gainers in the past 24 hours, Aptos up a whopping 25% for the day, trading at $5.73, followed by Woo Network. Is that any relation to Willy Woo? I highly doubt it, but up 17% for the day, trading above 18 cents, and Lido DAO up 4.5%, trading just under $2. Below that, we have Chiliz, GMT, and Shiba Inu. And checking out the top 100 crypto gainers for the past week, a sea of green, which we all love to see. Gala up a whopping 138%, backed on the news of The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, and another, I think it was Mark Wahlberg with their gaming coin, which was big news. FTT, which is the native token of FTX, is even up a whopping 58%, and Lido DAO up almost 60%. Massive gains for the alts. And checking out the Crypto Greed and Fear Index, we can see we're currently rated at 26 in fear. Yesterday at 25 in extreme fear. Last week, a 26 in fear. And last month, a 26 in fear. So there you have it. Let me know if you're currently short-term bullish or bearish on the King Crypto before we dive right here into our Bitcoin technical analysis. for the day. And I want to do another quick little check in the chat and say what's up to Johnny Midas, ESP, SpongeBob, Jeff Sailing with Twins, Digital Dankness, BitBud, Unschool, Mikey. We got a lot of the crypto fam here with us in the house, which I love to see. But with that being shared, here we go. Let's dive into today's Bitcoin technical analysis. Bitcoin stayed above 17K January 10th as risk assets awaited fresh cues on policy from U.S. Federal Reserve. Here you're looking at the Bitcoin 1 hour candle chart. Now data from Cointelegraph Markets Pro and TradingView showed Bitcoin consolidating after hitting almost 17,400 on Bitstamp the day prior, its highest since December 16th. Bitcoin gained in line with gold early in the week, seeing a slight cool off as U.S. stock markets also lay in wait for potential Fed catalyst. Now, Fed Chairman Jerome Powell was due to speak at the central bank conference on the day, with the bulls hoping for a more dovish tone in the wake of several months of declining inflation. The latest CPI data covering December 2022 was nonetheless not due until January 12th, which is a couple of more days away. And commenting on the short-term Bitcoin price action, quoting crypto analyst Mikhail Van de Pop, Bitcoin rejecting as a crucial area as Powell's speech is approaching yesterday, plus simply crucial resistance zone, probably sweep towards 17,100 before another bounce towards 17,500 for bearish divergence, or we long at 16,900. Good volatility, lots of dips on altcoins too. Now, full-time trader George, a popular presence on social media, meanwhile eyed a potential intraday range with 17,000 as support, quoting him here, think we could be establishing a new range between 17 and 17.6 for the next couple of days. Let me know if you agree or disagree with these crypto analysts. Elsewhere, there were no signs of relief for the US dollar as strength continued to deteriorate and a potential boost for crypto. The US dollar index threatened to challenge 103 as support for a second day running. Now let's discuss the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust discount reverses despite investor pressure. More conspicuous than the modest uptick in the Bitcoin spot price was that of the largest Bitcoin institutional investment vehicle. Beginning January 6th, the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust began a marked recovery, which saw its share price add 17% over 3 days. And in doing so, the GBTC discount to net asset value spot price narrowed to its smallest in several months. In fact, formerly a premium, the negative premium stood at 38.5% on the day, up from record lows of almost 50% on December 13th, according to data from CoinGlass. Now, Grayscale's parent company, the Digital Currency Group, continued to field criticism amid a concerted effort from investors to regain access to their cash. That's right, which leads us to our next breaking update. This is brand new from Cameron Winklevoss 2 hours ago. He shared Earn Update, an open letter to the board of the Digital Currency Group, and I'm not going to read it all to you, but we know he initially called out Barry Silbert, and now he's saying he wants and demanding Barry Silbert to step down as the CEO. That's right. He says that $2.8 billion Genesis defrauded Gemini and over 340,000 of their users. Let me know who you stand with, Barry Silbert or Cameron and Tyler Winklevoss. And if you missed that video that the dev dropped just the other day, which has been going viral, which it was like Bobby meet Barry, it's absolutely hilarious and you need to check it out. Had me cracking up. I must have watched it at least a dozen times. And of course, I retweeted it on my Twitter. My Twitter user account is Crypto News Yes. So make sure you're also following me on Twitter. But with that being shared, now let's dive into some Coinbase layoffs, which is actually quite interesting. They're cutting more of their staff, and this is literally 950 of their employees, which is definitely not a good look as they're bracing for this crypto winter to continue, obviously, in 2023. So now let's break this down, shall we? Here we go. Major crypto exchange Coinbase is starting 2023 with more layoffs, letting go another 20% of its employees in a second major wave of layoffs. Coinbase CEO Brian Armstrong officially announced on January 10th, Coinbase will cut 950 jobs just like that as part of the company's measures to reduce the firm's operating costs by 25% amid the ongoing crypto winter. I'm going to stop it right there because guess what? When I reach out to Coinbase support, it usually takes 2 weeks for them to respond. So if they're going to cut 950 of their employees and their customer response service was already hideous, I can only imagine how worse it's going to turn into. So it's definitely not a good look, just stating the obvious. Now, Armstrong emphasized that Coinbase is well capitalized and crypto isn't going anywhere, but the firm has to proceed with layoffs in order to keep the appropriate operational efficiency. Now, as part of the headcount reduction, Coinbase will be shutting down several projects with a lower probability of success, the CEO noted, without specifying which projects will be terminated exactly. Again, not a good look. In fact, I believe the recent events will ultimately end up benefiting Coinbase greatly. Sure, Armstrong, referring to the growing regulatory clarity that Coinbase's opportunities due to the failure of FTX, and added the following: but it will take time for these changes to come to fruition, and we need to make sure we have the appropriate operational efficiency to weather downturns in the crypto market and capture opportunities that may emerge. And Coinbase's blog announcement is accompanied by the firm's 8K form filing with the US SEC, which states Coinbase's audited financial statements for 2022 are not yet available. And as part of the restructure and plan to reduce its operational costs, Coinbase expects to spend about $149 million to $163 million, including $58 million and $68 million in cash charges related to employees' severance and other termination benefits. The company expects execution of the plan to be substantially complete by the second quarter of 2023, the filing notes. And the latest layoffs comes months after Coinbase initially reduced its headcount by 18% in June of 2022, with Armstrong citing a starting economic recession. So there you have it. Virtually 40% of the Coinbase employees have been cut in the past year as they're embracing for this crypto winter. So it doesn't seem things are going to get any better anytime soon, according to the actions of Coinbase. Now, which centralized exchange, if any, do you currently trust with your precious crypto? Let me know in the comments. As I state all the time, not your keys, not your cheese. And another reminder that self-custody is the answer, or forever hold your peace, because obviously none of these exchanges could be trusted, especially with the continuous contagion going on in the industry. But with that being shared, now the FTX saga continues. Here's the latest updates of what's going on. Unlike FTX Group executives Caroline Ellison and Gary Wang, who pleaded guilty earlier during the investigation, Nishad Singh, the former chief engineer of the defunct crypto exchange, doesn't have any charges leveled against him. Lucky him. However, as previously reported by Crypto Potato, Singh's GitHub appeared to be tied to FTX's secret Korean account, which has allegedly used for masking the exchange's liabilities and dubious practices. It had the same privileges as Alameda's trading account, such as exemptions from some of the more stringent risk management policies in place at FTX. Now, unfortunately for Singh, it appears the chickens have come home to roost. According to Bloomberg, the former FTX executive is currently in talks with the SDNY attorney's office. Singh reportedly attended a proffer session, meaning that the invited party, although not accused, received limited immunity in exchange for a semi-formal discussion that would allow the court to determine whether they have any information that could be useful to the prosecution. And if it turns out to be helpful, this would allow the court to enter into a plea deal with Singh in return for his cooperation. According to Sarah Paul, a former prosecutor at the Manhattan court, possible witnesses are encouraged to come forth voluntarily as soon as possible, allowing them to get more leniency from the courts than otherwise possible. Putting them here, the first person in the door is often going to have a much greater chance of being accepted as the cooperator, because there is usually be a greater need for their testimony. Now, while Caroline Ellison and Gary Wang have pleaded guilty to fraud and are cooperating with authorities on the subject, the accusations of money laundering via donations to political campaigns have not made much headway in court, at least not yet. Now, since Singh was reportedly a big league philanthropist and donor himself, it's possible that his tentative cooperation with U.S. authorities could be centered around that side of the court case. Singh funded Democratic candidates to the tune of $8 million in the last election cycle alone, and interestingly, one of the largest donations, $1 million to be exact, was made out to the Mind the Gap, an action committee founded by Sam Bankman-Fried's mother. That's right, and whether this can be a conflict of interest currently is unclear. However, it would definitely be a point of interest for the SDNY prosecutors. So there you have it. What are your thoughts surrounding this? Do you think the former FTX chief engineer is going to be obviously pointing the finger at Bankman-Fried, potentially Carolina Ellison and Gary Wang? Or how do you think this is likely to uncover and play out? Let me know your thoughts in the comments right down below, which leads us to our next story of the day. Justin Tron's stablecoin, which is USDD. Why is it depegging from the US dollar? And should you be concerned? Let's break it down. A stablecoin, which we all know is a crypto crypto that is pegged to a certain fiat. It provides stability for investors of crypto, making transactions easier. Now, USDD, a stablecoin created by the founder of the Tron blockchain, Justin Sun, has been losing its peg to the US dollar. According to CoinGecko, USDD is currently trading at 98 cents. Although USDD was designed to be pegged to the dollar like other stablecoins, its value has fluctuated between 98 cents and just under 98 cents. Now, as this developed, Sun's crypto exchange, Hobby Global, joined the ranks of the crypto companies that started this year with job cuts. That's right, it's not just Coinbase, adding to the pressure and the fear, uncertainty, and doubt surrounding Hobby Exchange itself. Recent social media posts regarding the exchange shows that Hobby was higher withdrawals than deposits, which strengthened fears of a possible halting of withdrawals. Now, personally, I do not trust this dude whatsoever. Now, USDD is an algorithmic stablecoin which uses complex algorithmic to keep the price pegged to the dollar. And according to Tron's DAO's blog post about the inner workings of USDD, the stablecoin is not considered depegged by the system when it drops lower or goes higher than a dollar. Interesting. But looking at the charts, the stablecoin is consistently testing its 3% leeway set by the system. All I know is this: if I'm using a stablecoin, I'm not going to be using one which is going to rob me of 3% of its value. You know what I mean? The whole purpose of the stablecoin is for it to be pegged to the dollar. So although the system itself does not consider USDD depegged, this consistency is worrying, as any further drop may cause more troubles, obviously, or eventually lead to the fate that befell UST and Luna when it crashed. Now, with investors skeptical of USDD since its inception, Sun has not done anything as of now, which is clearly because of the current situation at Hobby Global, leaving the reins to the system that governs USDD. As shared here in a tweet, Justin's $1.1 billion withdrawal, it was speculated that this was used to fund Hobby's operations. Likely untrue. The amount is way too large to cover burn rate. Even Twitter, running at its most wasteful state, only burns at $4 million a month. Whispers of him cashing out, so be on red alert. Now, Sun, who is an advisor to Hobby Global, who said to be withdrawing more than $1 billion, which further strengthened the FUD surrounding the exchange. Yeah, can say that again. I mean, that's $1 billion. Speculators, however, believe that the withdrawn funds would be used for the operations of Hobby. This might be true, but it might not, as the exchange might be burning through its liquidity as withdrawals continue to mount. Due to the recent negative developments, any negative news on Hobby might have an effect on the peg of USDD as well as USDJ. Now, which stablecoins, if any, do you trust the most? Obviously, the largest out there are going to be USDT. We got USDC, which is owned by Circle. There seems to be a lot of FUD over the previous year regarding USDT Tether potentially collapsing. But I also got to call out that Max Kaiser, he says that Tether USDT is back 1-to-1, and it's not the problem, and that the problem that we should be alarmed about is USDC. So it's interesting, but let's see how it all plays out. Obviously, there's also BUSD, which is the Binance stablecoin, and there's the Tron stablecoin from Justin. There's so many out there. We also have DAI, which is an Ethereum stablecoin. Me personally, I would stick with the two biggest ones, USDC or USDT. And I don't say that as I trust them long enough to hodl them for the long term, but I'm saying if you're in a situation and you're looking to do some trading temporarily and you need a stable coin because you don't want to exit crypto and into fiat, maybe for tax purposes, etc., maybe consider using one of the top ones versus one such as Justin Tron's, which is depegging already in real time from the US dollar. Common sense, right? But with that being shared, now let's dive into our next story of the day and discuss a potential massive correction. And then I'm going to be discussing a massive bull run. So I'm going to be sharing both sides of that coin. So let's break this down, shall we? Here we go. This anonymous analyst known in the industry as Crypto Capo tells his 700,000 Twitter followers he's forecasting a market correction even as Bitcoin smashes through that $17,000 mark. Many alts have also experienced a recent surge in value, but Capo warns that Bitcoin is rallying straight into resistance levels just below $20,000 and is more like setting up for another leg down, perhaps to about $12,000, which is more than a 30% decline from its current $17,300 price action. Quoting Capo, zoom out, ask yourself, why am I buying here? Is it because of FOMO? You are seeing random altcoins having random pumps. same as have been happening since the start of the downtrend, and you feel the need to buy, you could think this might be the bottom. However, there is not a single bullish confirmation yet. Just look, it's there right before your eyes. Bearish trend intact. Bitcoin and most of the market are testing broken supports as resistance. We have seen this over and over. I am not buying. And he shares this chart, which you can see on your screen. Check it. Now, Capo is also forecasting a deep dive for the S&P 500, which has held a tight correlation with the crypto market. He predicts that the SPX will plummet as low as 3180 in February before rallying, and at this time, SPX is sitting at 3940, as outlined here in this chart. Now, although Capo is bearish, fellow crypto strategist Callio says the market rally is just starting. Looking at Ethereum, Callio says the smart contract platform is heading for another leg up to $1,400. Ethereum is currently changing just above $1,300, so up more than 12% from its 1192 low at the start of the year. Quoting him here, this rally is just getting started. Send it higher. And looking at this chart, Callio is predicting ETH will enter the $1,500 price action range later this month. Let me know if you agree or disagree with these analysis from top crypto analysts, which leads us to our final story of the day and the moment you have all been waiting for. And we are going to be discussing a $160,000 Bitcoin price prediction, but don't get it twisted. It's not happening anytime soon, but within the next couple of years, as per the strategist. So let's break this down, shall we? Crypto analyst known for calling the 2021 Bitcoin collapse thinks the King Crypto is on track to break through its longer-term diagonal of resistance. Pseudonymous trader Dave the Wave tells his 133,000 Twitter followers that a technical move over the next month or two could be possibly sufficient for the break of that resistance. Quoting him here, Bitcoin, could a technical move over the next month or two be sufficient to break the longer term diagonal of resistance? On track so far, which he outlines here in these charts, which I'll include in the show notes below the video in the description. Now, Dave also says that pay attention to the time Bitcoin spent below the weekly Gaussian channel. The Gaussian channels are momentum indicators that can be used to identify price tops and bottoms. Quoting him here, periods of time Bitcoin price has been below the weekly Gaussian channel. Nothing too drastic here. And now with Bitcoin currently trading at around 17.3, the top ranked crypto asset by market cap is up about 3% in the past week. Bitcoin remains 75% down from its all-time high of 69,000, which it hit back in November of 2021. And in late December, Dave the Wave said his logarithmic growth curve model indicated Bitcoin can ascend to $160,000 by January 2025. Send it. Quoting him here, on the basis of the LGC, which has stood the test of time for 4 years, Bitcoin can easily do a 10x over the next couple of years. Let me know if you agree or disagree with the crypto analyst. Now, the LGC model is the analyst's attempt to predict the cycle highs and lows of Bitcoin amid changing macroeconomic conditions. So there you have it. How many of you are currently bullish for the King Crypto heading into the next halving in 2024? Let me know in the comments below. And do you feel that $160,000 can potentially happen within the next couple of years as he predicts? Holla at your boy. With that being shared, now let's dive into my favorite segment of the live show, which is the live Q&A. And welcome to everyone just tuning in. It's good to see the fam. We got Steve Hubs, Bitcoin Cow, welcome. SpongeBob SquarePants, the one and only Bitbud, Steve, yeah, Telengard, Satwise Jenks, Dragon Flower, yeah, Tough Cookie, what's good? Sid Ortega, ESP Academy, Jeff, good to see you. Unschool yourself. Yes, absolutely. Let's go to the top here. Massive shout out to Lawrence Abramoff. Digital Dankness, I appreciate the $5 super chat. As always, fam, you are the man. Good morning, Mikey likes it. Good to see you as well. SpongeBob says, good morning, JV. No major breakout, please. I need it to go to $12,000. Sounds like many of you are looking forward to buying that dip. Praying to the Satoshi gods, please drop lower. Please drop lower. I need to stack more sats. Well, that's what's up. Mikey says, I am still waiting for 17,420 fam. Is that so you can light up in 420? Because that's no excuse. You can be doing that at any time. Greetings, Johnny Minus. Good to see you. Dragon says short-term bullish. That's what's up. Unschool yourself says short-term. I don't know ish. Dragon says a little relief rally would do me some good. Yeah, for sure. Picked up right where we left off on the last stream. Let's hit 17,420 this time. Send it. I mean, we're less than $100 away. It's like $90. Let's do it. What's kicking? Good to see you as well. Digital Dankness says, I see my called cup and handle is finally playing out. Next is the crash out to 10, 12,000, and my full prediction will have played out. Watch out, the breakout might be a fake out. Sage advice. Thank you for sharing, fam. Not buying into this pump, says Dragonflower. J-Dub says, good morning, Crypto News Alerts fam. Good morning. I appreciate you tuning in. I appreciate your continued support. SpongeBob says, use River Financial to buy your Bitcoin, not someone who tried to hack. BTC. OG Backroad Crypto Bootleg. Always a pleasure, fam. Good to see you with your diamond hands as always. ESP says, all you need is some more patience. BTC. Exactly. Patience is the name of the game. SpongeBob says, when you put your money on the exchange, wait for that money to clear before buying your Bitcoin. This way you can remove your Bitcoin immediately. Cash is covered, not your Bitcoin, so don't leave Bitcoin on the exchange. More sage advice. I appreciate you sharing that, SpongeBob. Take heed, folks. I trust my ledger only, says Unschool. I feel you. Self-custody is the way to go. Dragon says, when I buy Bitcoin on Coinbase, I can withdraw immediately. Same here. If you're on an exchange and you're unable to withdraw, some exchanges are like this. You got to hold your crypto on the exchange for so many weeks. I think that's a bunch of nonsense. And personally, I would never use an exchange which holds on to your crypto because there's already enough uncertainty with all the exchanges to begin with. So if they're like, yo, you can buy this crypto, but you must hold it on this exchange for X, Y. Nah, no thank you. Let's go to the next one. So Binance doesn't do that. Coinbase shouldn't do that. I guess it all depends on your payment method of how you buy the crypto. So it is what it is. SpongeBob, bank transfers to exchanges will be held. You're able to buy Bitcoin, but you won't be able to remove it. Dragon, even with zero balance on Coinbase, when I make a bank transfer, I can immediately withdraw my Bitcoin. That's a good sign. You should be able to. Coinbase Pro is different, true. And now Coinbase Pro got replaced with another product of theirs. SatWise says USD versus USDC is the one thing that Max Kaiser says that I am not sure I agree on, but I wouldn't be surprised if USDC evolves into the Fed coin. And I think that's the bigger picture of why Max doesn't trust it. He doesn't trust the Fed. He doesn't trust FedCoin. He doesn't trust the powers that be and the people behind it. And that's what he is trying to say. It doesn't mean that they don't have massive plans for USDC. I mean, it's very apparent and obvious, but he's saying, yo, I trust USDT because it is not controlled by the powers that be who are controlling USDC. And hey, I tend to agree with Max. So shout out to Max and Stacy. Sapwise Jenks, damn, meant USDT. Word. Bitcoin said, Cal, when y'all say the same thing, it really happens. Hodl Bitcoin and stack Bitcoin now. Degen like mofo gaming. I feel you, ESP. It does seem that way right about now. Steve says, Bob Lucas tweet this morning. This morning I purchased my final Bitcoin allocation. You can see this reflected in the 4-year journey model portfolio. Link below. That's what's up. Keep stacking them sats. Cal says, only one thing I hate more than Moon Boys. Doom Boys. I feel you, man. No one likes that doom and gloom, those Peter Schiffs of the world. Steve Hub says, wouldn't have bought it if he thought Bitcoin was going to 12,000, or talking about Bob. And Steve says he had a buy limit order at 14.5 for months and decided it was not going there either. Word. Short bull bounce before dropping to $12,000. How much higher do you feel we climb on this bull bit, bud? I'd love to hear your perspective, as you have been extremely accurate for the past year, calling this entire crash of 2022 coming into fruition. So I'd love to know where you feel, how high we're likely to go before we crash back down to 12K. Jim Junkie, welcome, lurking and working out. Health is your wealth. Absolutely. What good is all the Bitcoin in the world, all the stats you're stacking, if you don't have good health to go along with it? I put health first. First and foremost, every day I dedicate at least 30 minutes of my day to health, typically over an hour. I'll play basketball, I'll work out, even if it's just a home workout, doing some push-ups and sit-ups. I like to go in the sauna, do that every day as part of my routine. Do things that are going to help with the longevity, because I believe in natural health, and I also believe in sovereignty, and that's why I am health in Bitcoin, 100%. California is getting beat up by these storms. I noticed that, man. I saw some footage in Santa Barbara, which was where I used to live back in the day, in California nearby. And some of the roads had floods where the floods were exceeding the height of the cars. Like the cars were buried in the water. And I'm like, what am I watching? This is California. Insanity, yo. So my prayers go out to everyone in California being affected by the storms. Steve says, hodl your Bitcoin and ETH in a ledger or Trezor. Take it off the exchanges. Sage advice. Thanks for sharing. J-Dub drove through a rainstorm to my basketball sesh. Cannot stop me. JV or Bitcoin. Let's go. Let's get it. BitBuzz says, if you would have put your crypto in USDC 12 months ago, you would have had a lot more money. Why is that? Do explain that to me. So hypothetically speaking, let's say I had $10,000 in US dollars, and 12 months ago I say, hey, let me keep this in USDC. How would that have benefited me? Wouldn't it still be worth the $10,000 today, being it's a stable coin? Maybe I'm missing something. Please enlighten me. Steve says, Manson, not a good idea to share how many Bitcoin you own. I agree there, and I'm glad you retracted that message, because there's a lot of bad people in the space who have nothing better to do than to try to steal your crypto, and they will by any means necessary. So it's better to not make yourself a target and say, hey, I own XYZ amount of Bitcoin, because then the hackers are going to like, yo, let's go after this guy. So I absolutely agree with that. It's better to be safe than sorry. BitBuzz says 18.5 is where it might go before falling. Okay, so another $1,200 or so and then dropping. Pretty much a big fake out, tricking all of the bulls. Bitcoin Cal says, lucky shout, none of these technical analysis guys know for sure. Well, that's for sure as well. I mean, anything can happen. Oftentimes what we're expecting to happen, the complete polar opposite happens. But I will point out some call signals. When you got people like Jim Cramer of the Mad Money channel on CNBC saying, sell all of your crypto, to me, that's like a bullish sign. Like, why is he telling everyone to dump their crypto? He knows something we don't know. And obviously, he is being paid to purposely mislead investors, in my humble opinion, because everything he says, the opposite tends to happen. If he is long on Bitcoin, I'd probably be like, oh, what's going to happen to Bitcoin? You know what I mean? But in this case, right now, he's short all crypto, saying, get out of crypto. It's the worst investment of our lifetime. You know, whatever BS he is preaching from the TV box, the idiot box. It's insane, right? What an idiot. SpongeBob says, I was awakened at 3:45 this morning with a tornado warning in Northern California. What in the world? I didn't even know California had tornadoes. What kind of world are we living in? I thought you had to worry about earthquakes. We worry about tornadoes in Florida, Puerto Rico. Dogecoin millionaire regrets telling everyone his assets, I am sure. Jeff says, I heard about the Modesto sponge. I don't know nothing about that. Bitcoin's Cal says, yes, everyone's a lottery winner in hindsight, especially those of you specifically stacking sats. BitBuzz says, yes, because all crypto has dropped, 50 to 70%. Oh, so I see what you're saying. So you can buy the crypto back at a massive discount versus purchasing the crypto back then. Valid point. Thank you for sharing, BitBud. Tellingard says, I bet he doesn't even follow his own advice. Cal, yeah, I mean, but anyways, fam, I'm going to wrap up on a high note there. I appreciate each and every one of you tuning in. Let's wrap up with a big finish, which is a recap of what I covered with you here in today's show. We broke down the latest technical analysis as the Bitcoin price holding above 17,000 into the Fed Powell speech as GBTC jumps to multi-month highs. We also discussed breaking news of Cameron Winklevoss with a new earn update with an open letter to the board of DCG. We also discussed Coinbase laying off yet another 20% of their workforce, literally 950 of their employees, and they just recently let off 18% not too long ago. Also in today's show, we discuss former FTX chief engineer wants a deal with the U.S. authorities. We're referring to Nishad Singh. Also in today's show, we discuss Justin Tron's not-so-stable coin, USDD, which is currently struggling to maintain its dollar peg. We also discussed a potential bull trap, which can send the Bitcoin price action all the way down to $12,000, which is a 30% decline from the current price, and also shared a very bullish trajectory of a potential $160,000 Bitcoin price as per crypto analyst Dave the Wave. Where do you feel the Bitcoin price is likely to go next? Holla at your boy, and I look forward to seeing you in tomorrow's show.